Wow. Well, that was fucking awful, huh? And now you know why we put the big tits on the fucking screen so that you can gaze upon them while I fumble my way through audio issues. I sincerely apologize for that. Just absolutely, absolutely atrocious. Um, I appreciate Noel Padilla and Roland Perez chiming in and letting me know in the comments what was going on. If you will, give me a shout and let me know how it sounds now. I would be very appreciative of that. That was an absolute fucking nightmare. Uh, it's a good thing. It's a good thing no one watches this fucking show. Thank you, Noel. I appreciate that. Good, good to know we are underway and all set here at Sacktap Live. And wow, what use? Thank you, Roland. What good use of the big tits here on screen for the three of you who are tuned in for that fucking debacle. Yeah, you know now that we put them up there, so you have something to look at. Well, I make an ass out of myself trying to get the show off the ground, and also as a time to remind you to, if you aren't already, to subscribe to the social media pages, facebook.com/the Savage Crew, and Mike Montone on YouTube, where you can watch this live stream and you can watch me embarrass the shit out of myself while I try to get things started. And where else can you find me? On Instagram at Gary_Moyler, Moyler. And what's the other one? Oh, yeah, Twitter at Mike Montone. So do that and tell your friends that this is a place for people who love big tits. That is what we are all about here. First and foremost on Sacktap Live is checking out some big ass titties. So do that, and then if you want to subscribe, if you don't like big tits, whatever your reason is, you're not into them, you're an ass man, whatever. You can check out the audio version. Savage Sacktap usually gets released about the day after the live stream, and it's available on all podcast platforms, for the most part, anyway. If it's not in your podcatcher of choice, then just drop me a little message at one of the aforementioned social media platforms, and I'll be happy to throw the RSS feed up there. And of course, tell your friends that if they like big tits, then this is the place to be, because whether the show is good or whether the show blows, we always start and end with a big set of titties on screen. Whether I am fumbling around with my phone and the audio and all this other shit like a complete incompetent ass, or whether things start smoothly, there will be big tits. There will also be anal sex in Greece. Officials react with shock to the least shocking occurrence ever. And speaking of anal, has Dunder Mifflin receptionist Pam Beesly been giving up the two-hole? I will be investigating that and much more in tonight's Sacktap Live. It starts right now.
You're listening to the Savage Sacktap. It's not a podcast, it's not a half-cast, it's just a quick shot to the balls to help you finish off the week. We're cutting through the bullshit, filling your Friday with rage-fueled logic, and cracking a few jokes along the way. So grab a bag of frozen peas. There's a Savage Sacktap coming your way.
Smooth, lascivious, salacious, outrageous.
Unfortunately, when we start the show, the big tits do have to go away for a little while. So just a moment. Don't worry. I promise those cans will be back, because they are a fine set of jugs. Let me find a good Chiron there. There we go. We are tittyless, unfortunately. Very sad. Very, very sad. I see David S. there chiming in. Yes, happy Friday to you too. I presumably my anal loving friend. Don't we all love anal? That is what we are going to be talking about here this evening. Lots to talk about anal on tonight's Sacktap Live. I am Mike Montone. This is Sacktap Live, and the audio version, of course, the Savage Sacktap. Before we get to the butt stuff, I wanna touch on something else that has been driving me fucking nuts, and it's not even um, it's not even like a new phenomenon. Like this is a thing that's been going on. I think it's been going on for a while. But I want to show you this, and I hope you guys hate this as much as I do. This tucking your sweatpants into socks thing, and I'm sure it's been going on longer than I realize, but it's become super prevalent lately. I feel like I don't know who did it. One of these one of these sad boy rappers, maybe. It feels like something a sad boy rapper would do. Like when I was growing up, and not to sound like a fucking old guy, but I do miss the days. I said that very. I was going to say the day, and it got stretched out to days. This is not my fucking night. Um, I do miss the days of the violent rap feud. The rappers who were toting guns and slinging rock and macking it to hoes. The rap these days is far too depressing. They're all sad, and I'm sure the rappers of Tupac and Biggie's day were pretty sad too. I mean, it's a kind of a depressing life coming up in the hood, in the ghetto. Um, but the point remains, this new sad boy rap sucks. Like those guys buried it under all sorts of bravado about, stacking paper and coming up out of the hood and, moving on up to the east side or the west side or Midtown or Battery Park or wherever they were moving on up to. These kids today, I don't know, they're just a bunch of I guess they're just a bunch of depressed pussies, and they're not out there gangbanging because they can't get themselves out of bed. But whatever it is, the younger generation loves them because they're all sad because their parents have turned them into fucking lunatics over the course of the past decade or so. And they're emulating it with this horrible, horrible style of tucking the sweatpant or the jogger into their socks, and it looks fucking terrible. It's just a bad look. This isn't a thing about like it's not, they're not dressing up. It's not classy. They look like shit because they're wearing sweatpants. It just looks fucking dumb. Like it's just not stylish by any stretch of the fucking imagination. Like my generation had its stupid shit like Jenkos and whatnot. Like we dressed like fucking assholes when we were growing up. Anyone who's ever been inside of a Spencer's Gifts or a Hot Topic has dressed like a complete douchebag. We were putting flames and stripes on everything. But this is terrible. Um, and it's like seeping in now to people my age. Like I believe Kanye has been about town dressed like this. I see guys all over Hoboken, like white collar professionals on the weekend are walking up and down fucking Washington Street to get coffee and walking their dogs with their sweatpants tucked into their socks. They look like just complete fucking douchebags. And I'm told that the original reason for this was that guys would do it when they were shoplifting. So you could just drop shit into your pants and then it wouldn't fall out when it got to the bottom, which I get that. That to me is fine. If you're going to do this while shoplifting, there's a purpose. I don't necessarily agree with ripping off, small business owners, but I at least understand a plan and a purpose. That much we can kind of agree on. Once you're done shoplifting, you should go back to wearing your pants regular. Because if you're walking around in the style of dress of a shoplifter, then anytime there's a shoplifting, people are going to look for you. That's just fucking crime 101. Don't make yourself so obvious. And two, because you look like a complete fucking asshole when you dress like that. It's a bad look. And I've also noticed a common thread among all of these guys is that they have like very bony I don't even want to call them twink legs because I feel like twinks are usually, they're slender but they're fit. They just have like these bony fucking girl legs. Like now that chicks are into having big thick asses, it's funny. You walk around and chicks have more muscular legs than most of the fucking dudes around here. Like this area, it's amazing that fucking Hoboken was like it was like a tough guy town, like on the waterfront, fucking mafia. That this used to be a very kind of manly, dangerous area, and now they're just fucking they're not even men. I don't know what I'm searching for a term to describe them, and I want to say girly men, but I don't know if that does it justice. Maybe they are girly men. Yeah, it's a girly man. Yeah, Hoboken is filled with girly men. It's just fucking embarrassing. And I realize that it's it seems like the pants thing is like a seemingly small thing to be irritated by. Like, fine, go, just let them wear their pants like fucking assholes. But it's just another thing that is making, at a time when white dudes were down bad, as the kids say on the internet. It seems like every time a new news story comes out, like we're not we're not in a good way. Like, it's the doppelganger of the Hoboken male is really a guy with a dad bod with his sweats tucked into his socks, wearing an NFL jersey of, a very fit individual 20 years his junior, drinking a high noon and putting half his paycheck into the Caesars sports betting app. It's just not good. Like, these fucking guys, they need to be slapped in the face vigorously, told to quit dressing like assholes, pick up a fucking kettlebell, and put their money in an index fund or some shit. Just because we're oozing fucking testosterone, and not I don't want to. This is gonna make me sound like a fucking, like some sort of like white nationalist, but like, the country, I don't mean the country is being taken away from us, but we really are just becoming a fucking laughing stock. Like, we're no, you know, we have fallen a long way from Don Draper, or Burt Reynolds, fucking Arnold Schwarzenegger in his prime in the 80s, Stallone, like it's just it has just been a fucking precipitous fall, and we really should as a collective be trying to get our fucking shit together. Like, testosterone rates are plummeting. No one's got fucking testosterone anymore. Like, we should all agree. We should all meet one day, fucking join hands, and agree to do a cycle or some shit, and start eating shitloads of protein and lifting weights and really just re-seizing masculinity. And it starts with getting your fucking sweatpants out of your socks. All right. So join me in that. Join me in reclaiming white male pride by not dressing like fucking sad teenage rappers. Just what a bunch of fucking. And I love athleisure. This is not about not wearing athleisure. I'm wearing athleisure right now. I got joggers on. Joggers fucking rule. But this putting your fucking putting your pants into your socks just looks completely fucking asinine. Um let me get this. Let me get this embarrassment to the male gender off the screen here so we can move on. That's better. We'll wash that bad taste out of our mouths with some big tits later on. I did say that tonight's episode would have a lot to do with anal sex, and I wasn't I wasn't fooling. Let me bring our next topic of conversation onto the screen. Here she is. Pam Beesly. I watch a lot of The Office, I was watching The Office right before I got on the stream. Probably when I should have been testing the audio. I was probably hitting the vape and watching The Office, um, shirking my responsibilities to the non-paying viewer. Anyway, I watch a lot of The Office, and I have come to the conclusion there is nothing else. There is nothing else. Pam Beesly has to be doing anal. That is the only thing. Like, I think that is, if there is a hidden message, oftentimes you'll find out like long after a show has been off the air that there was some sort of sub message or subtext or plot to a show, and you'll find out about it in an interview with like the creators or whatever. I think one day we are going to find out that a part of Pam Beesly's character that never made it into the show but was always kind of there was that she was known among Scranton kind of social society uh, as a chick who would take it in the ass and who was kind of down for anything. I really think she was big on anal because it is the only thing that explains why everyone on the show wants to fuck her. And I get she has we later kind of see that in later seasons, this might not be a fair picture. We do see that she's got kind of decent tits. But I mean, they go out of the way to make her a frumpy, very boring looking chick. She is in no way is the woman on the screen right here worth the constant fawning she receives. And just to go over to rehash some of it, just some of it. She's engaged to Roy. She leaves him for Jim. In between this time, between Roy and Jim, she dates Danny Cordray, who is portrayed in the show to be like the sexiest, suavest salesman in Scranton. She goes on a date with Ryan's friend, the cartoonist from the paper, and he's staring down at her tits. What else? She gets propositioned by Ryan. Ryan wants to fuck her. Ryan, who, he fucks Kelly, I'm sure, Kelly seems like she probably gives head on like the first date. I feel like that's the deal with her. That's the kind of chick she is. She watches a lot of like reality TV. She's into the Kardashians. She's seen all the sex tapes. You get the impression that Kelly Kapoor's sucking your dick on the first date. But Pam gets propositioned by Ryan. There's that loser at the art school when she goes to the Pratt School of Design or whatever. There's that kind of New York City West Village cuck. He's probably into getting pegged, and he probably cried when Hillary lost. The bartender in the episode where they do the Dunder Mifflin commercial and they're all celebrating it at the bar, and he invites her for a ride on the motorcycle. It's everyone in fucking Scranton is trying to fuck Pam Beesly, but she's like a 6 at best, like a 5 in this picture. Karen, on the other hand, Karen Filippelli, who is that she's like a legitimately hot chick. Like she's like a nice, she's got a nice tan skin, looks a little flexible and fun. Is practically ignored by everyone, with the exception of Todd Packer, which makes sense because Packer loves pussy and he sees a nice piece of pussy. He wants to go after it. He's not around. He's the traveling salesman. He's not plugged into the Scranton scene, so he doesn't know that Pam is giving up the 2-hole all over town. I get that. And I realize I've been to Scranton. If you haven't been to Scranton, Scranton is a miserable, shitty, boring place. I have been there on assignment for work, and it's not a nice town. But they frequently bring women onto the show who are sexier than Pam, and they do not receive an ounce of the male attention that she does. Um, it's insane. You can go through the entire series when they're at the bar. There's that hot dental hygienist who Dwight fucks at the wedding. Um, they None of these women get as many men throwing themselves at them as Pam, a frumpy receptionist in a 3-story Rust Belt office park. And frankly, if we look at her, she looks like the type of chick who at best would be doing videos for like midwestfreaks.com. I don't know if you're familiar with that, but my brother and I did a segment a while back where we watched a scene from it, and it's not pleasant. It's not nice. Um, but Pam Beesly does not bring an erotic resume to the table. So the only conclusion that I can come to here is that, among other things, Pam is into anal. Because if we're gonna say she's like a 5, you know, then you figure if she'll swallow loads and lick your balls and lick your asshole and let you fuck her in the ass and she'll jerk you off with her tits and let you finish all over her chin. If she's just a dirty girl who really likes to fucking take it, then you can bump her up a solid 3 points and you look at her and you're like, yeah, okay, if she's on some absolute freak shit, then I guess she warrants this degree of popularity. Like if she'll let you fuck her in the ass while she eats her roommate's pussy, then you go, okay, I get it. And everyone knows, and Scranton's kind of a small town. Um, so if you do that kind of thing there, you're a commodity. I get it. In that case, I get it. But she's got to be doing something. Um, More anal sex to come. Let me get Beasley off the screen here. Get out of here, bitch. Bitch, be gone. All right. We'll have a much nicer looking set of tits on screen to end the show, of course. Heading across the pond to Europe, a video of men having sex at the Acropolis as tourists stroll by sparks uproar. And unfortunately, I am on a company computer, so I can't go quite too deep into my search for anal footage from Greece. But I would assume you get kicked off of YouTube for playing male on male anal sex. Is that right? You can't post anal on YouTube, can you? I can't imagine they would leave the stream up if I was posting anal. So we will not be reviewing the footage tonight. But this was the Acropolis is Greece's most visited landmark, but the historical ruin saw an entirely different sort of action recently. A group of filmmakers staged an explicit gay sex scene at the UNESCO listed site, and the footage has been posted online. And I will let you look for that on your own, um, in your free time. I'm sure some of you out there will busy yourselves finding it right away. The scene occurs in broad daylight as tourists walk nearby, though it's unclear if any passersby were aware of what was happening. Yeah. Can you imagine that? So you're like a retired couple from flyover country, and you're vacationing. Maybe maybe you like to travel in the winter. You can dodge the cold weather. And you decide you pick Greece. You hear it's lovely that time of year. The tour guide's bringing you through, and as you're passing through, notice the classical Greek architecture prevalent around the Acropolis. And to the left, you'll see 2 men engaged in an act of hardcore anal sex. Foreign visitors may not know that the ancient Greeks were actually known for their love of anal, often lubing themselves with olive oil to aid in the penetrative process. What a tour! What a What a treat. You go to see some limestone and some old buildings, and you just see some slender twink getting his hairy asshole jammed with olive oil dripping down his nutsack. That's living history. A Greek culture ministry spokesman told French media agency AFP that it has launched an investigation and hopes to find as soon as possible those responsible for this illegal shoot. Yeah, what a work assignment. You have to watch gay porn over and over to get a real good look at the culprits. Like some guy, there's some guy in that office who's going to get way too into the assignment. Is it has has anyone seen Giannis? Um, he said he didn't want to be bothered because he was working that on that Acropolis case, and then he locked the door to his office and said nobody knock for the next 2 hours. So I guess he's busy. Um, Giannis is in there whacking away, making Greek yogurt. Uh, Finding these guys, by the way, is easier said than done because, as I have made perfectly clear, Greeks love anal sex. I mean, they are known for butt stuff. Like it is literally called, if you fuck someone in the ass, it's called going Greek. Like, of all the history and knowledge and human advancement that occurred during antiquity and the mythology and the ancient ruins, they have their own yogurt, the Olympics, all of this shit. The thing that they are most known for is anal sex. So, despite the fact that this is a very public act and that it was put on the internet, it's still going to be hard to find. Like, I assume you walk around, and I've never been to Greece before, so I don't know, but you walk the streets of Athens or Mykonos or wherever, and I assume that there are just dicks going into buttholes all over the place. Now, call me an ugly American, but this is just what I know of the Greek people. So I have to assume that finding the two Greek guys who were fucking each other in the ass at this particular time in this particular place is going to be like an Alabama fan who got drunk and yelled the N-word and roll tide and then punched a minority in the face. Like, it could literally be you just described the entire population. That's all of them. That's all they're doing over there. All they're doing down in Alabama is being racist and watching football. All they're doing in Greece is having sex in each other's butts on ancient ruins. You know, everyone has a different culture. The anonymous producers of the film titled De Parthenon have described the scene as political art. Oh, Democrats, I guess, right? Hey, we're not afraid to get a little political here. Oh, they say the Parthenon symbolizes nationalism, the cult of antiquity, and patriarchy. So I get that. And I get that, political art, you want to be extreme, and there's, not much is more extreme than going to a tourist destination and fucking someone in the ass in front of a bunch of geriatrics from Omaha. But I can't I can't help but feel like this kind of misses the mark because if you're protesting the patriarchy oppresses women, like it leaves them out. Then one would think that to protest the patriarchy, you would include a woman in the act to make it inclusive, that women can get fucked in the ass on an ancient ruin as well. It seems like, if you ask me, the guys who did this really, really, really like the patriarchy. Like, they like the patriarchy so much that they won't even fuck women. They will only fuck men. Um, in response, the Culture Ministry said in a statement, the archaeological site of the Acropolis does not lend itself to activism or any other action that offends or shows lack of respect to the monument. And I understand that they don't I guess they don't want people butt fucking in front of tourists because I guess it's a little bit icky and everything. But again, if we're sticking to historical accuracy here, then there should probably be more butt fucking going on at Greek archaeological sites. Archaeological. Archaeological. Yeah, sure. Um like at Disney, they do that parade, I guess, once every couple hours there's some fucking parade that goes down Main Street. I know a guy who's actually really into both anal and Disney, so I could ask him about this. But yeah, I think like every couple hours there's a parade. Why don't they could do the same thing at the Acropolis. Every few hours some guy comes out dressed like Plato. He's got, he's got the tunic on and the crown made out of leaves or whatever the fuck that thing is. He gives a lesson on the three levels of reality or the virtues or whatever Plato was into. And then a couple twinks get up from the crowd. They have their tunics on too, and they lift them up and they just get cornholed by this Plato impersonator while Japanese tourists take pictures with oversized cameras. I feel like that'd be a real grab, It's kind of that's a talker. And what'd you do? I went to Greece. You got to see it. This you learn all about Plato, and it's such an in-depth lesson that you get to see not only how big his cock was, but you get a pretty good look at his thrust too. So I think as a history buff, could be interesting. Could be a moneymaker. I think they should look into it. Anyway, enough. I think we've spent probably the right amount of time on anal sex tonight. Some of you may hunger for more, and if you do, there are other websites available for that. Um, but from dicks being up people's asses to heads being up people's asses. What a transition. We will touch on the ongoing pandemic and Joe Rogan and all of that shit because it's just been all over the news. I don't, I don't want to sit here the vaccine or any of that shit, but just I enjoy the uproar around it really more than anything. I love a good uproar. I don't really give a fuck about, the vax this or the mask that, whatever the fuck. I don't fucking care. But the latest thing is, I guess they were talking about mass psychosis on Rogan over the holidays, and it has prompted the mass media to lose its fucking mind. This is from, I think this is from Yahoo. A scientist promoting anti-vaccine conspiracies attributed cooperation with COVID-19 measures like vaccination and mask wearing with mass formation psychosis during a December 31st Joe Rogan Experience podcast. In the segment, Dr. Robert Malone, who once researched mRNA technology but is critical of the COVID-19 vaccines developed with that technology, said mass psychosis has caused a third of the population basically being hypnotized to believe established facts about COVID-19. So whatever you're feeling on like the fucking vaccines and shit like that are, if you're a normal person, I do think it's easy to see how someone could take the position that people have become lunatics about aspects of COVID culture. Like, for fuck's sake, people were in their homes slamming pots and pans together. At the same time every day, people would bang pots and pans together to thank the first responders. What about letting the first responders that like live next door? What about letting them fucking sleep? You know how much fucking shitty it must have been to be like an EMT. You've been up to your fucking wrists in coughing dead old people for fucking weeks with no end in sight, and you're trying to get a nap in after your shift, and all of a sudden the fucking wine mom in the unit next to you is just fucking hammered on rosé all day, and she's bored as shit because she's been stuck inside with her kids, and she can't get to the gym to fuck her personal trainer behind her husband's back. So her only outlet is clanging together a couple fucking pots and pans and yelling at people on Facebook. Yeah, I think it's reasonable to say that there was some kind of mass psychosis that kind of took place during coronavirus. And even funnier is that the people who helped stir this mass psychosis, the mainstream media, or the lamestream media, as I like to call them, I coined the phrase, um, scrambled to inform the public that they were not, in fact, being hypnotized into anything by the mass media. Um, Here's a quote. To my knowledge, there's no evidence whatsoever for this concept. Jay Van Bavel, an assistant professor of psychology and neuroscience at New York University, told the AP. Well, I mean, look, if an assistant professor from NYU says we should shut up and listen to the establishment media, then I guess it's settled, right? Because why would why would an assistant psych professor at NYU have any kind of slant? No one in New York, in particular, in academia, has been known to lean in a certain direction when it comes to social and political issues. Settled. It's done. Fantastic. It's amazing. It really is amazing that the fucking mainstream media, their response when someone says that, yeah, look, it does feel like there's a little bit of a mass psychosis going on in this country. Their response is to be like Officer fucking Bar Brady. All right, move along now, folks. Nothing to see here. That like just nope, 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 nope. Pay no attention to the man behind the curtain. Uh, hilarious, because these people have done nothing but rile everybody up for the past 6 years or so. Ever since Trump went down that golden fucking escalator, they have just been going bonkers. And they have offered the solutions in the form of medications, uh, shitty TV shows of that Stanley Tucci touring the Mediterranean and sipping Chianti, political figures, round the clock coverage of violence in the streets. Uh, of course, of course, they are responsible for some sort of mass public psychosis. Now, there may not be a clinical term known as mass formation psychosis. That I may buy. I'm not This is not my field of academic expertise. And if someone can provide me with some literature, I will buy that. But to say that establishment media and politicians and academia in this country and social media have not turned most of the population just completely fucking insane, that you need to fuck off. Like, that is a disingenuous position. And this is irregardless or regardless or whatever the fucking word is. I don't fucking know. I'm not as smart as I attempt to make myself sound. Um, Despite, whatever your political position may be, left, right, vax, not vax, whatever the fuck, I think anyone can agree on that, right? That we've just been getting hit in the face with fucking fear porn for the better part of a decade now, and it's kind of fucking people up. That doesn't even seem like it should be a controversial opinion. Um, and I have I can say this confidently because I worked in newsrooms for a while, for probably about 7 or 8 years, and all they do is look for ways to rile people up. Those motherfuckers, as soon as it starts to rain or snow or anything comes out of the sky, they get erections so they can whip people up into a fervor about the weather. They have special sound tracking the storm. They name storms that aren't supposed to be fucking named. It flurries and they name the storm. If you're wondering why the subway shuts down during a blizzard, even though the fucking subway is underground, it's because the media scares local political figures into doing it. Because if there's any problem with mass transit or any of that shit during a fucking snowstorm, then the media will run fucking coverage of it for weeks on end, and rile up the viewer and the voter, and it just causes all of this fucking insanity. You know why you can't, if it's gonna fucking snow a little bit, you can't find food at the fucking grocery store because everyone makes a run on it because they're convinced they're gonna be trapped in their homes for days on end with no power because there's 8 inches coming down. Like, really, what's the worst? What's the worst we get here in fucking New York? A foot? You're not getting trapped in your fucking home. All right. You just, it's ridiculous. It was infuriating working in a fucking newsroom and watching this shit. And if you question it, if you're like, hey, are we being a little irresponsible getting these people all fucking worked up every time there's any kind of weather going on? Like, seems like it's affecting our credibility, and oh yeah, it's fucking stupid. Uh, People look at you like you have a dick growing out of your head. It's fucking amazing. I mean, in looking back on it, it was really funny. And fuck it, if whenever there's a storm, they make you work these absurd round the clock shifts, and they do bring in free pizza. So at least it's a catered affair. But it's amazing. I remember I was riding the bus home after one of these bullshit storms where I had to stay in a hotel overnight in the city, when 4 inches of fucking snow came down, and I was riding the bus home, and the bus driver said they was predicting a blizzard. This ain't a blizzard. It's a damn snowstorm. Um, yeah, so just ridiculous, and they think they're smarter than you, so they don't mind just blatantly throwing bullshit in your face because their attitude is, what are you gonna fucking do about it? Like, they think you're a fucking moron. Um, so then take that attitude and compound it by an international emergency, uh, a, a contentious election, an off the wall economy, people dressing like fucking buffaloes and overrunning Congress. They're beating the shit. We're beating the shit out of each other on airplanes. But last week we had a story where a lady secretly injected someone else's kid with the fucking vaccine. It's safe to say, I think that makes a pretty good case for the idea that we've things have gone a tad haywire, and that it is some form of insanity that has been perpetuated by both the media and the government. And I think the rest of it is just kind of semantics. Okay, fine. It's not a mass formation psychosis. But you're a bunch of irresponsible fucks who scared the shit out of people until they got so riled up about the solution, in this case masks and vaccines and such, that they're getting into violent altercations over them. And that's not really something that's gone on before, so I think a reasonable assessment. Um and I fucking love this. I'm going to bring up another picture now. This fucking guy. And I think he did this as sort of a troll thing, but who the fuck knows? Probably because he wanted to just generate attention for his YouTube page because he's one of those guys. But this shit was going on. I'm cutting Rogan's head off there. So I guess, what's this guy's name? Ethan Klein. He's got the H3 YouTube channel. These are the guys who think they have it all fucking figured out, and that guys like me, I'm gonna put myself in the same pool as Rogan because we both work out with kettlebells. he thinks guys, men, people with testosterone and balls, he thinks we're the fucking problem. Um, and he he claims to have the whole health thing figured out, and that's why this comparison picture has been making the rounds on YouTube, on social media. He was calling Rogan out for smoking weed and eating a high protein diet. He basically said, Rogan's lungs are full of tar, and all he eats are elk steaks and egg yolks. Um, so people were like, okay, if you're going to call out Joe Rogan for his health practices, let's see your body. And they pulled up this picture, and it's horrific. I mean, and this is what I'm fucking talking about when I talk about the state of the contemporary American male. Okay? One of these we're designed to look like. The other is a body in decay. And it's not helped that obviously he's wearing a diaper here, I guess, as some, it looks like it's for a goof or whatever. But you you don't want to, if you look like that, if you're out there and you look like that, for the love of fucking God, please take this as a wake up moment. Um, eat eat a diet that is high in animal proteins and vegetables, and get some kind of physical activity in every day, because we can't have any more of these motherfuckers. This is it. Like, this embodies what I was talking about earlier when I was talking about, again, poor phrasing, that we fucking, what did I call it? White male pride. uh, I sound like I should be marching through Charlottesville with a tiki torch. But no, but like, just pride in yourself and taking care of yourself as a man, and not being this like limp-bodied, disgusting fucking joke of a human physique. Um, just terrible. And the arrogance that comes with it, uh, to say that you should be in a position to tell anyone what they should be doing for their health is fucking hilarious. And I realized that on his end, this was probably high level trolling, I think, and not even kind of obvious trolling. But since it all got put out there, I did want to bring up this example of just an absolute simp and pussy. And I don't. While I believe it was a troll, I also feel that this is more than likely uh, a relatively deeply held opinion of this individual. Um, and speaking of simps and pussies, I'll keep this up there until we get back to the big tits at the end of the program. I wanted to finish tonight on this article that was making the rounds. It's the headline is, it's an op-ed piece. I'm perplexed by the maskless, muscle-bound buffoons at the gym. Um, and he says, now that this guy is bitching that guys at his gym are muscular, and they don't want to wear masks because wearing a mask at the gym fucking blows. He says, now that the ever loving Omicron variant is transmitting like CKLW in its glory days. I don't know what CKLW is. I don't know if that's like a reference to a radio station or some shit. I am amazed and perplexed at the number of muscle-bound buffoons traipsing around the gym with masks at half-mast, or not bothering to wear one at all, despite the policy flyers posted all over the place. Oh, well, I'm sorry for ignoring the policy flyers. Look, I personally, my gym wants us wearing masks. I wear the mask because I don't want to get the fucking gym shut down. Like, that is my only impetus for wearing the mask. If I'm on the gym floor and I look around and there's fucking 6 dudes and no one's wearing a fucking mask, I absolutely pull my shit down. If I know I'm among friends, then of course I pull the fucking mask down. Um, when I first took notice of this viral lawlessness, I stopped at the service desk on my way out and reported such wanton disregard for the rules to a trio of 20-something staff members. Yeah, we know, one of them drawled indifferently. We don't have enough staff to make sure everybody's following the rules, but we will have someone do a walkthrough when the manager gets in. And this guy is outraged by this. When the manager gets in, by then that pesky nano killer would have the opportunity to pass its spiky baton on to 100 treadmilling troglodytes. This guy really thinks who's that? Keith Olbermann. This guy thinks he's Keith Olbermann. Like, this is a guy who is writing because he wanted to go viral, so obviously this kind of helps him. But he is writing in Keith Olbermann's voice right now. Let me take a sip here because I'm gonna have to read this very fast and ranty to really give you the effect of this raging fucking douche. By then, that pesky nano killer would have the opportunity to pass its spiky baton on to 100 treadmilling troglodytes who will perforce take it home and share the deadly bounty with family members and friends, or anyone else unfortunate enough to consort with these myopic, fox-watching miscreants. Frankly, I don't care if the vax and mask refusers wind up gasping for air in the ER. Again, Darwin rules and stupidity drools. Like, you can feel it coming off of him. Like, this is that he dreams of being Keith Olbermann. He continues, all right, my friends, we are steamrolling to the anticlimax of this not-so-tall tale, whereupon your masked hero, takes it upon himself to gingerly approach one of his fellow club members to bust his sculpted ass for unfiltered breathing while exercising a lethal breach of civility and, yes, wanton flaunting of rules and regulations. So what he's telling you, what he could have said in a couple of words, is that now that he has brought it to the attention of the gym staff and they have done nothing to ease his concerns about unmasked gym goers, he is going to begin confronting them. And this part is definitely one of those. You see those things on social media where the guys like people make up a fake conversation with their 4-year-old or whatever, and the kid says something profound, and it's all bullshit. This is one of those situations. Like, this is all obviously made up. He says he went up to the guy and said, "You don't find it necessary to wear a mask, huh?" I asked him pointedly. This is his nickname for the guy, is Pretty Boy Void. Get it? Because there's nothing going on in his head, and he's a fitness guy, so he looks good, right? Pretty Boy Void. Very, very clever play on words there. Pretty Boy Void looked a little stunned, and certainly a serrated dialogue balloon would have revealed his thoughts to be, who is this wrinkled old fuck, and what business does he have telling me what to do? Instead, he decided to argue his case on the merits as he saw it, explaining that he has a daughter in Florida who goes to school unmasked and that she never caught the COVID. Besides which, the self-dubbed epidemiologist added, that mask you're wearing isn't protecting you from anything. Do you know how small the virus is? Like 1 micron across. Masks don't work, period. So you see what he's doing here? This didn't happen. This is not a conversation that he had. He has taken what he perceives to be the anti-mask, anti-vax, whatever argument, and crafting it into a fake conversation that he had at the gym. And the reason he's doing this is because he's a raging asshole who is desperate for attention. And who are you anyway? Superman? I replied with a sarcastic smirk. You apparently don't give a damn whose deadly droplets you fill your lungs with, nor, should I add, whom you might subsequently infect given your studied indifference to both science and the law. What's up with that? Nobody speaks like that. nobody in conversation would speak like that. We've all seen the videos of how this goes down when it happens, right? They're all over the fucking internet. It's a guy, whatever way it works, it's one person is just screaming their fucking face off, whether it's a guy with the mask on, screaming that that guy needs to get his mask on, or whether it's a guy with the mask off, screaming that he's not putting his fucking mask on. It always devolves into a borderline violent screaming match. It's never this eloquently spoken, sarcasm laced, fucking scripted thing. Um, the lanky GQ coiffed fop stared at me with equal measures of disdain and disbelief, but held his tongue. Without forethought, I offered an ungloved fist bump and said, "Well, good luck to you, anyways." He returned the gesture, but if weakly, and returned to his bodybuilding regimen. Yeah, no one does that. He's not fist bumping you. Like, no one's, this is made up. This is not a genuine human interaction. This reads like someone who doesn't get a lot of human interaction. I get the impression that this guy spends a lot of time at home by himself. Um, and then he just goes on to criticize the guy. He was probably preparing to be an extra in some no budget martial arts flick, pumping iron like a madman for 8 seconds of screen time. Hey, I'm not bitter. I truly hope that Gorgeous George gets the gig and they shoot on location. In Wuhan, I don't, you know, I I don't even know where to go with that. So I get the impression that if I were to, call it the Wuhan flu or Kung flu to this guy, he'd get really upset about it. But he has no problem making a crack about Wuhan being crawling with coronavirus as a sort of affront to this guy who is just kind of going about his day, attempting to breathe normally while lifting weights without a fucking gag on his face. Um, yeah. What a made up, contrived, fake, just transparently fabricated situation. But I guess it worked. It went viral. We read it here on the Savage Sacktap Live. And now, as a reward for you sitting through that and staring at this hideous excuse for a man over here, a different man than the one who wrote the article, I will reward you with the of big tits. Just a sec. There they are. Heaping set of cans. And of course, I will scroll through the comments section. Shout out to Uncle Dave since we're talking anal. Dave does, from what I understand, enjoy a bit of backdoor fun. Thomas Hager is giving us a lesson. We were talking earlier about the anal sex at the Parthenon. At the Parthenon is the temple. The Acropolis is the mountain. And at the bottom of the mountain, there's a flea market. Tons of little gifts with cocks all over them. I guess so. I mean, right? Because the statues and guys always had their cocks out in ancient times. So that's food for thought. He says he's not even making a joke. Yeah, I do not doubt that there are lots of little fucking statue cocks for sale in Greece. Scott says never enough anal talk. Well, I guess to each their own. Everyone likes a different amount of anal talk. Um, Thank you, Roland. What a kind thing of you to say. Another great show, Mike. I agree with Roland Perez. Good enough to have 7 people watching simultaneously. What a night. What a night for anal sex. What a night for big tits. What fun we had here on the live stream. I have some sushi to get to, and I am famished. Before I go, the reason the big tits are up is a reminder and a little bait for your friends out there. If you're looking for a show to recommend, say, hey, the start and finish of every show, you get a big heaping set of bosoms on screen. So in the event that the host is a fucking moron and spends 3 minutes trying to get the audio going at the start of the thing, it's no problem because at least there are big tits to look at. So do that. Tell them to come here and check out the titties. Tell them to like it, to share it, to follow, to subscribe to all of the social media platforms, facebook.com/The Savage Crew, YouTube, Mike Montone, Twitter at Mike Montone, Instagram at Gary_Moyler, Moyler. And of course, if you're not in the market for big ass titties, then of course you can always listen to the audio version, the Savage Sacktap, wherever podcasts are downloaded, Spotify, iTunes, Libsyn, Pocket Cast, all over the goddamn place. If it's not in your podcatcher of choice, just reach out on social and let me know, and I will submit the RSS feed. Good to see all of you down there, Larry Rice. Thank you very much for that. Yes, we are back for at least another 3. It's good way to start the year. I'm very happy about it too. Thank you, Larry. I will catch you guys next week. Have a lovely weekend. If you're in the New York City area, you are gonna freeze your fucking dick off. Adios.